Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The full release has finally dropped. We checked out the MV, and it's time to check out the album. Jimin's solo debut EP, the Face EP. Gonna check out all the songs on it. Well, I say that all. Put an asterisk on it. We're going to be skipping like crazy because, well, we watched the MV for it already. If you haven't seen it, it's over on the channel. We've also seen Set Me Free Part 2 on the channel. We saw it when it dropped as a pre-release last week. We will be skipping that. And of course, there's an English version of Like Crazy as well, which we will be skipping because, well, it's just an English version of a song we've already heard before. So, we're going to be checking out Face Off, Interlude Dive, Alone, and also the hidden track as well. So 4 songs today on the docket. Let's just jump right into it. I've got the album production credits over on the second screen right under the camera right here. It looks like Ghost Loop was involved with the entire album. P-Dog was involved in the entire album. Ooh, I wonder how ARMY are responding to that. Jimin's involved with everything apart from the interlude, and then RM involved with Face Off and both versions of Like Crazy. Cool stuff. How are ARMY taking the fact that P-Dog is on this? I know he can be a rather divisive producer. Okay, anyways, let's jump into it. Face Off. Lyric videos, of course, coming from the always reliable Zati Farani and the team over there. Thank you very much. They were like on it with this release, and thankfully, 1, it's a reliable lyric source, and 2, it's a soloist, so you don't have to worry about line distribution. It's great for me because I have had horrific luck this month with color-coded lyric videos. So here we go. Enough rambling. Let's jump right into it. Oh, right. If you want to skip ahead to a song, timeline's always going to be chaptered. There we go. Why am I getting... Oh, there's weird modulation going on. I was gonna say, it sounds like a haunted carnival. But we got a style switch already. Little introduction teaser, okay.
Alright, I guess the blame is on me.
Whoa, okay. There is a little bit of that hauntingness to it still. There's his vocals. This is so weird. I don't know how to classify this sound right now. Ooh. There's still that kind of like inherent like spookiness to it. It's kind of got that like music box effect to it. Again, the kind of like echoey mixing done on this post-chorus, similar haunting vibes. The little pitch modulation as well. such an interestingly structured song. What an interesting way to start the album too, because it really makes you think like, what is going to happen with this? Oh, I love that. I love the kind of like unhinged, like unleashed nature that he says, that he lets out the F-bomb. It's so fucking over. Like you can really feel it when he delivers that line. Interesting way of bringing just one element of triple meter here. Oh shoot. Oh shoot, okay. Whoa, what an experience. I feel like that word is going to be used to describe this entire album. Like, off the rip. We've heard the title track, we've heard the pre-release single, and then we've heard the first song on the album. And already, I feel like this entire project is just going to be an experience. Because there's really no other way to explain Face Off other than it was an experience. There's something so chilling and haunting about this. It for me, it gives kind of like the sensation of like unease listening to it. Like, I don't know what's coming up. That kind of sense of not knowing what to expect, paired with the fact that it is really mixed kind of like a horror show soundtrack, where it's got that kind of music box like synthy piano in the background. There's a little bit of an echoey reverb within the vocals. The melody isn't necessarily all that bright and happy. The pacing is surprisingly slow. And Jimin's like falsetto and head voice, I think, just hammers home that kind of like chilling sensation this song gives off. And it's such an interesting way to start the album, because it really does set up the listener for a whole multitude of things. It's got them on edge now. And having said that, we don't even get a song technically coming up after this, because we have an interlude. We have an interlude before the title track, which is, again, a very interesting place to put a song. But I'm assuming the reason why there was no lyric video for Interlude Dive by Zatifarani is because the song doesn't have lyrics to begin with. And I'm guessing that's also why Jimin isn't on credits, is because there were no lyrics to write. Let's see though. Let's see if I'm right. What is happening? What?
진짜 너무 보고 싶었습니다. 네, 이렇게 만나게 되네요. 여러분, 지민입니다.
What is happening? I'm loving the cello. I'll clock that. And I'm guessing the earlier little spiel in front of like the crowd was maybe like a member introduction they've done at BTS concerts. I like that the sound is progressing very slowly but surely. Because now we've got the flute in the background now, on top of the cello. I'll be honest, the gulping sound. I'm sorry if you lot can hear me when when I drink water through recordings and things like that. But one of my like pet peeves is hearing people gulp like loudly in like an ASMR kind of setting, or like what Mnet does on every single survival show whenever there's like a tense scene and someone on camera takes like a nervous gulp, is when they add the gulping effect. Oh, it raises the hairs on the back of my neck and I don't like it. It makes me uncomfy. But as for the song itself and like the interlude, I'm so lost. The only like hypothesis I can come up with is that it's kind of like telling an adventure and a story through the song, that we're seeing a transition from BTS Jimin into soloist Jimin, and through like kind of like the standard, almost like songs structure and like the instrumental part. In the beginning you have the member introduction clip in the stadium cheering and all that, and then you have this more like intricate instrumentation behind it, first with the introduction of the cello, and then you've got the flute, and it becomes a little bit more refined and a little bit more personal. Jimmy kind of like classical instrument portraying his like kind of like demeanor on stage on his own, where he does give a little bit more of like a flair to a little bit more refinement. Maybe it's telling the transition from like BTS Jimin to soloist Jimin. I don't know. I'm still kind of hung up on the gulping thing because, not my favorite thing in the world. But the interlude though, interesting setup into like Crazy too, because I think there's some parallels to it as well, in terms of like the kind of like the crowd environment aesthetic, in that you can kind of like picture yourself within the crowd as like the song progresses. But I'm not mad at the song. I'm just mad at the last 5 seconds of it with the ASMR drink gulping thing. Just not my cup of tea. But we're back to music. Alone. Here we go. Starting with the low register, but pairing it with the high piano. It's so low that there are some notes that just doesn't get tonal quality to it, because it's all air.
아니 모두가 그렇지 매번 괜찮은 척하는 내 모습이 한심하게 느껴져 똑같은 하루가 또다시 흘러가.
Man, this song up until this point is really low in his vocal register. I mean, you can hear the octave in the background, but
나 돌아갈 수 있을까 차갑고 쓸쓸한 밤.
Again, it's going with that octave layering and the vocals. But talk about a style switch, especially after Like Crazy. Interesting choice of the vocal modulation there. They abandon the pitch and just go for this like straight down pitch. But it's not following like the keyboard pitch, they like slide it down.
해봐도 또 눈을 감고 외면을 해봐도 알잖아 힘이 망가진 걸 되돌릴 수 없는 걸 똑같은 하루가
Lots of vocal layering going on here. Be interesting to hear if this ever gets performed live, which part Jimin ends up taking in the live performance. If he's gonna go lower or higher. Because he can do both. It's just two very different voices.
아무 생각 없이 불 꺼진 방 안을 걸어 나 홀로 괜찮다 했었지만 점점 날 잃어가는 것만 같아 Day and night 반복되는 fall Bad twilight 외면하지만 Day and night 반복되는 fall Make it right
What an interesting touch. Because for that one brief moment, the song just abandons all sense of a home key. Just ignores everything and just goes and does whatever it wants. Just da-da. Well, this album took a dark turn. Wow. Okay. We really are getting a lot of different feels. Like, Face Off was a little bit spooky. Interlude Dive was, well, essentially an interlude. Wasn't too much in terms of the musical element to talk about there. Like Crazy, it was a fairly upbeat in comparison to the rest of the album so far, but like fairly upbeat and energetic synth song. And then Alone was just, again, it's kind of giving me that kind of haunting feeling in a way. It's not so direct like Face Off was, but this one, it's just how slow it is, I think. This song is so slow, and it's, because of the pacing of it, it's like if you're familiar with like Harry Potter and and Goblet of Fire, when they're running through the maze and the maze is like closing in, it feels suffocating, that like you are trapped in this like shrinking room with no way out, and it's elongating this struggle that you're experiencing. And that kind of like, just the way this song is so slow and almost lethargic in a way, and it's like kind of giving me the sensation that I am alone. And it's like you're in this like hostile environment where things just are not getting any better, and you're just left there to just marinate in all of like the things that are coming at you. I don't know, that might be the complete wrong description of it. Admittedly, like, when it comes to lyrics, I often do miss it on the first listen just because I'm so focused on the music. Like, my brain goes immediately to the music before the lyrics, so I do often miss the meanings behind the songs. So if it was kind of clear cut in the lyrics and I just didn't clock it, I apologize. But it's just kind of how my brain's been wired to do so. But this album has been just a roller coaster from start to finish, because after this would have been Set Me Free Part 2, and that is just the most dramatic piece of music to come out of the K-pop scene probably since Max Changmin's Devil last year. I mentioned that when we checked the song out last week, but it's so dramatic. There's a certain flair for it that he just absolutely owned. And it went on the playlist. I absolutely loved it. It's so cool. But there's a CD-only hidden track that, of course, as is the nature of the internet in the 21st century and, the mid-2020s now, which just feels really weird to say, it's made it onto YouTube, titled Letter. So, here we go. What an interesting mix. Oh, now it's all clear, and the ocean is gone. Okay. You know, a ballad would come at the end of the album, so this does fit. Oh, this song is super soft and gentle. Harmonica solo? What an interesting... I really need to read more because I'm running out of words. But... the chords being used in it too are not very angsty chords. Ooh, nice vocal layering for the harmony. Ooh, nice run in the background. Nice flourish into the bridge. Crank up the energy one time, okay. And then we're back to this filtered effect with the ocean in the background. Is it going to be a case where the song just kind of naturally peters out into the atmosphere? It is. What an interesting way to end the album. Whoa. I'm kind of left speechless by this last one because I don't really have the words to describe it. It does the job that typically a ballad would do, and it wraps up the project really nicely. But it more so emphasizes the fact that Jimin kind of just said, hey, I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to do as much as I can in the little album that we have. Took that concept, ran with it, and just really showed off 6 very different songs. And I'm, 1, shocked, but 2, really impressed at the range that he covered in this. The thing about the solo album for me is when an artist goes solo out of a group context, their first debut typically is like kind of showcasing what you can do and like establishing your own sound in a way. With like most recently, we checked out Minhyun's solo. Of course, he spent 10 years in Newest, After Newest disbanded, and he finished his acting gig with. Shoot, what was that show? Oh no, I've forgotten. I've been meaning to watch it. Alchemy of Souls, there we go. But he went solo recently, and we checked out that EP, and we figured out there that like Minhyun kind of established his sound in the way that he is, kind of bringing that like vocal color that he very much owns himself, that kind of like higher chest voice tone, and is giving like a little bit more of like a mature spin on it. With Jimin's Face EP though, I don't actually know if he's established a sound yet. And I think it's that uncertainty that's going to propel his solo career forward. Like, yes, he's going to have the backing of Army, obviously. Like, I have not seen a fan base this passionate about an artist since probably the Beatles. Or even that, like, brief moment in, like, 2011, 12 when One Direction really popped off. But, like, the power that BTS holds over pop culture around the world is nuts. It's actually nuts. And frankly, while the group themselves are kind of in that little like break period, and while members are off doing their own things, like of course he's going to get the full backing of the group's fandom, obviously. But this solo career, I think, is going to attract a lot of new eyes that necessarily might not have followed the group just because of how diverse his sound is and how diverse of a sound he's going to continue to make moving forward. Because I bet you next release is going to be nothing like this. And that's just kind of the power that he holds musically and creatively, is that he's not going to restrict himself to one type of sound. He's going to do whatever he's inspired to do. And you could tell even through this album alone that like there was no like assignment, if you will, based off this project. This was just Jimin the artist and his brain at work unleashed. Like there was no restrictor on this whatsoever, and I love that. I love that Hybe's allowing him to do that, and I love that he's got a production team around him that's like taking on his creative ideas and letting him do his own thing. Not also that he's like going for that drive of really making his project with like especially with the involvement on all the songs. That's so important that he's making this project his own thing, and I love that, and I commend him for it, and I think it's executed really well. It's almost like experimental in a way, this album, at least for me, and like basing off of like traditional pop, traditional like standard K-pop from that scene. It's really different, and I like different because it makes your brain work. It gets the brain cylinders. It gets your brain cells firing, and it makes you think about it. And once you put more effort into like trying to understand a song, and once you do understand it, the more appreciation you get from it. So he's done a really good job with this. Shout outs to you. That was a solid project. But that's it for me today. Thank you all for watching. Hype albums typically do not fare well with YouTube copyright, so this is probably going to be on pCloud. But if this isn't, and this somehow survived on YouTube, and you want to see more from me, channel icon's up there. You can find the back catalog of stuff watched in the past. Drop a subscription if you want to keep up to date with whenever I upload new videos. And if you want to watch another video on right away, YouTube recommends you watch that video down there. And until next time, bye bye.